This is Jedi General Pong Krell. I welcome you to the Voice of the Republic podcast. Listen to this podcast. That is an order.
Your reputation precedes you, General. The reputation of a great new podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Voice of the Republic podcast. This is Bonnie from Star Wars.
Time to see who's smart enough to join the hunt. The hunt for the Voice of the Republic podcast.
So, I hear we're going to be taking out separatists on the Voice of the Republic podcast.
Smaller in number, are we? But larger in mind is the Voice of the Republic podcast. Of all the Jedi, why did I have to end up with the Voice of the Republic podcast? As the Republic juggernaut rolls across the disputed worlds, citizens all across the galaxy turn to the Voice of the Republic podcast for help.
Hello, this is C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations. Master Luke can't come on the Voice of the Republic today. He's out fighting the stormtroopers that just landed. I shall have him be a guest on the Republic podcast as soon as possible. Oh dear.
Hello Star Wars fans across the galaxy, welcome to the Voice of the Republic podcast. My name is Daniel, and joining me is fellow host Rory Williamson.
Hello.
And also joining us is co-host Lizzie Carty-Dodd.
Laheating, hello, and apologies that I sound like a cross between a Toad and General Grievous, as we've established. I'm still somewhat sick at the moment, but I literally would rather die than miss tonight's guest, who is incredibly special to me.
That would be an awkward combination to think of, a Toad and General Grievous.
Does that equal a zombie? Because it sounds like it could.
It's like General Grievous with a toad head.
Or a long tongue.
I need to Photoshop that later. I'm going to Photoshop that after the show.
Oh, please do.
Have Toads as General Grievous's feet, then Lizzie won't find those feet so sexy.
Okay, I think I might need to explain that whole feet thing later.
God. We got back to this
Rory.
again somehow. Thanks, Rory.
I do, you both already did it, I just piled in.
I didn't say anything about feet.
Yes, shall we move on?
Please.
Yeah, I've been wanting to for the last minute.
So ever since Lizzie talked.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay,
yeah.
We do have a very special guest with us today. We have actor Colin Ware, who played Rush Rostofan, Root Gane, and an unnamed Neimoidian on Mustafar in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So how are you, Colin?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
We're great, thanks. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Seriously, a pleasure. I'm so excited for this. I'm an enormous fan of the Neimoidians. I mean, I love them more than you can possibly know. So getting to talk to you tonight is a real honour. So thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
So we'll get right into the questions. So Dan, do you want to start?
Yeah, so hello there, Colin, and my first question for you is, what was your overall experience like being a part of Star Wars?
Well, it was pretty bizarre. I was one of the main guys in the creature shop, as you know, so I was employed mainly to do all the kind of prosthetic makeups, like Hayden's burn makeup and the Emperor makeup, and just generally working on all the aliens and the Wookiees and all that sort of stuff. And we were doing that for absolutely months, and some of the characters we had to recreate were the Neimoidians, and they were kind of pre-existing characters from the earlier movies, and we had to completely kind of rework them, but use a certain amount of the mechanisms, like for underskulls that were made for other actors, for instance. And one of the characters, we couldn't find anybody to fit it, and I was walking past a desk one day, and they basically just said, try this head on, and that's how I got the part. My head happened to be small enough to fit this mechanism, and then they whisked me off to have costume fittings, and that's sort of how I got the part.
Awesome. And my second question for you is, what inspired you or made you want to become an actor?
Well, I'm not really an actor per se. I mean, if you know where you're looking, you'll see a dead body of me in Saving Private Ryan, because I was one of the guys making corpses on that all those years ago. And then fast forward times, having been in the Spielberg movie, I was in the Lucasfilm movie. It was just try this head on. What are you doing next week? That's kind of the sum total of my acting roles. Other than that, it's about 25 years behind the camera where I feel a lot safer.
Oh, so thank you for answering my questions, and I'll hand you over to Rory now.
Okay.
So my first question for you, Colin, is how did you first get involved with Star Wars?
Well, I guess what happened was we were. I'm in Australia at the moment, and we were over in Australia doing a show called Farscape, doing all the aliens and things on that. And Rick McCallum, the producer of Star Wars, and George Lucas, they took notice of the work we were doing on very sort of tight budgets in the country that they wanted to film their next movies. And we were back in England at the time. This is me, Dave, and Lou, and we were doing a show called Silent Witness when the phone call came in. Would we like to come back to Australia and do the next Star Wars movie? So I think the phone was still, dangling in its cradle when the plane landed, and we came back very, very quickly and set up a creature shop and sort of hit the ground running and started designing. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Thanks for that. My second question is, had you been a Star Wars fan before you got involved with Revenge of the Sith, and did you know of the Neimoidians already?
I'd watched the previous films. I mean, I was a fan of the films when I was a kid. I went to see the original Star Wars when it came out at the cinema and had all the toys just like everybody else did. So, yeah, you can imagine it was pretty surreal to fast forward time and find myself being directed one-on-one by George, and then fast forward a little bit further and having my own toy. Life's a bit strange sometimes.
Yeah, it's very interesting, definitely. So my third question is, when did you find out your lines for your character, Luscious Dauphine, would be overdubbed?
When the movie came out. I mean, I actually didn't speak the part at the time. The mechanical head was built and puppeteered. Greg McKee did the puppeteering on it and programming of the computer and all the kind of lines and things. So they were doing the original kind of voice that we had. So it was lip synced beautifully on set. And then when they overdubbed it with the Neimoidian voice, obviously the lip sync ended up the way it ended up in the movie. So yeah, it was a sort of a surprise for them from the puppeteering point of view rather than performance.
Very interesting. My final question is, which of your Neimoidian characters' costumes was your favourite between Luscious Dauphine, Root Gane, and the unnamed Neimoidian?
Well, really, for me, it was almost like putting a different pair of glasses on. It was a change in hats. We pretty much had the same costume, which was a big, heavy thing. I mean, I had the animatronic head. I had a big hat, which was actually covering all the servo motors that made the face work. And I mean, I'm just over 6 foot tall myself, but they had me in kind of I guess there were quite big heels and lifts inside that. So I was probably heading towards 7 foot tall towards the end of it, which when I had to run around and be lightsabered over and the view out of this mask was very, very minimal. There was I think the guy who was sitting still, the General Grievous's pilot, that character, he was probably my favorite because I got to sit down. They told me I'd only be sitting down, and then a couple of days later they said, in this shot you're running away. And I was like, oh right, I can't see very well. But anyway, I'm sure a lot of my mistakes have ended up in the outtakes somewhere. I don't know if I'll tell you about those later if you want to know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll want to know, definitely. That would be really cool. So yeah, thank you very much, Colin, for answering my questions, and I'll let Lizzie ask hers now.
Cool.
Hello.
Hi.
Once again, I apologise for the cracking voice. Not much I can do about it at the moment.
That's okay. I'll just blame it on the phone line.
Do you know anything about their characters or to play and why?
I'm afraid I missed that question. You broke up a little bit then.
It was favorite either as character, if you know anything about their characters, or to play, to act out, and why.
All I heard, sorry, was characters and act out and why. I didn't actually catch the question again. I'm sorry.
Rui, do you want to ask?
Okay, Lizzie is having some connection problems, so I'll ask her a question.
Sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so Lizzie's first question was, which of the three Neimoidians was your favorite, either as a character or to play, and why?
I think I had the most fun as the Neimoidian pilot, General Grievous's pilot. I actually didn't play three characters. I'm not sure where this has come from. I played a guy. I also played a character who got lightsabered by Hayden in another scene. So I was only that character and the pilot. But I had most fun playing the pilot. I think most of my outtakes were playing the other character. I think it'd have to be the pilot because I got directed one-on-one by George Lucas, so that was pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. So Lizzie, are you there? Connection any better?
I'm still.
The night Lizzie gets to talk to one of her favourite actors, her connection goes.
Isn't that ironic?
Pretty much.
Well.
Yeah. So anyway, Lizzie's second question for you was, how did you do the Mustafar scene, given that both Duquesne and the unnamed Neimoidian died within seconds of each other? So
I take it that's the sequence where I got lightsabered, where Hayden came in and sort of started killing everybody. Is that the sequence you're referring to? Yeah. Well, as I only played one character in that, I only had to die once and lie down for a while. That was the one when we rehearsed it. It was a pretty intense sequence for Hayden and the stunt guys to rehearse, because there was so many points in the sequence he had to hit. Almost like a long dance that he had to rehearse with all of these guys in crazy alien heads running left, right, and center. So I rehearsed my sequence. I had to run up the steps, pretend I was talking into an intercom, and then run back where I was killed. And I was supposed to be the last one to get killed. And the first time we rehearsed it, I did it perfectly from my point of view, and then they brought a camera crane in without telling me. So when they said action, I ran full pelt into a camera crane, almost blind, with servo motors whizzing around away in my head. So that was one of the outtakes. And they said, "Oops, we probably should have brought that in the rehearsal." So anyway, the second time I managed to miss the crane, and when I made it back to my spot, I could see Hayden killing everybody, and then he just walked out and forgot about me. Where he realised he was obviously rehearsing it in his mind as he left the scene, and he realised he'd missed me, and he sort of came back down. I waved at him, and he came back down the steps and poked me in the stomach with a lightsaber, and I did a pratfall. Those are the two outtakes that I remember, and I guess the one that worked was the one that ended up in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. Her third question was, what was it like to die 2 times in one film as both of your characters, Lustrous and the one who was killed by Hayden?
I guess it was a relief. Then I could take the costume off at the end of a hard week's shoot and go back to the creature shop where it was a lot safer.
Yeah, very interesting. Her fourth question is, would you be interested in doing any other roles in an upcoming Star Wars project, maybe another Neimoidian?
Well, I wouldn't say no, but what tends to happen on these movies is any time they need extras or sort of bit part actors, they will turn to people in the creature shop. And I believe it's Neil Scanlon filming over at Pinewood who's doing the next movie. So I'm stuck over here in Australia working on other stuff.
Yeah, very interesting. And her final question was, what do you think of the Neimoidians as a whole?
I don't really have an opinion on them either way. I remember, I just remember being numb from the waist down because their pilot chair was made of fiberglass. I recall that very clearly. I remember being, as an Nemoidian, being very hot and with very bad vision. That's my memories of acting in it. I don't really have an opinion of them as characters either way.
Very interesting. So yeah, that was all of her questions. Unfortunately, your connection seems to have broke up. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah. So Daniel, you know the drill.
Yeah. So unfortunate the only night she gets to do it, and it's bad. So yeah, so for our live callers, we will be taking fan questions.
Can you please tell me you can hear me now?
And now, yes.
Yes.
We can hear you as you just.
Oh my gosh, are you bloody kidding me for one time?
And all of your questions
gosh,
have been
I can't believe
answered.
this.
So as I was saying, for live listeners, we're now taking fan questions and fan calls. You know the drill. If you've got me or Rory, personal messages, or if not, channel 1138 on Skype. So any questions, either call in or leave them in the chat and we'll get them answered.
I've got one question. I've got one question coming in.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on, just reading through what she said. Okay, this is from my friend Lana, who is also a big fan of the Nemoidians. While I die, she wants to know how long it took Ready to get ready for filming.
With construction of the character, or just getting ready in the morning?
Sort of getting ready.
Oh, we probably suited up quite quickly. It was probably about. I'll explain the process. They sort of blacked out my eyes and my mouth, so if you saw into the gaps in the mask, you wouldn't see me poking out. So then we'd just get I'd get ready in the costume before I came onto set, and that would take about 10 minutes maybe. And then to get the head on, and sort of wire it all up and switch it on and make sure everything was working, that was probably another 5 or 10 minutes. And then they popped the hat on top, and then we rehearsed. So probably didn't add that all up. It felt like about 20 minutes to half an hour maybe from me to Nemoidian.
That's another question. Another question she had was if you had a defining moment in your youth for deciding on a career as an actor.
Defining moment. Well, as I never intended to be an actor, I didn't really have that moment. My defining moment for getting into creature work, which led to me acting in this movie, was probably watching the films of Ray Harryhausen, like Jason and the Argonauts, that kind of thing.
Lovely. And she also wants to know what the biggest problem your work entails, if there is one.
Getting it in the first place. That's the biggest problem. It's a competitive market.
Lovely, thank you. And that's all the questions she had. The rest we covered while Skype failed me at the absolute worst possible moment. Seriously, I have literally waited for this since August. These two are joking about it. I'm absolutely devastated. I have waited for this since August. I've had questions prepared since August. And the day comes, not only do I sound like a toad, but my Skype cut out. I'm all sorts of frustrated right now.
You can't take you serious when you say you sound like a toad. I'm sorry. But yeah,
Rory,
so
I hope when you talk to Ashley Eckstein, your Skype fails.
well, technically you're already dead at Celebration Europe.
Yep, and it was a success. Hallelujah.
But yes, this is our last call for any listeners out there to leave messages for Colin. and we'll be wrapping up the interview in a few minutes. So please get any questions in, and we'll ask them. And that's how you make the chat quiet, apparently.
I had another question a moment ago. I was trying to think what it was. Actually, no. Now that I think of it, I think it was already answered. I was going to ask. I read in the book about the making of Revenge of the Sith that there was an incident involving the Nemoidians where one ran into a camera, and I was going to ask if that was you, but by the sound of it, it was.
Yes, it certainly was. I remember. I remember it well.
I wish that had made it onto the DVD. That would have just made the DVD for me. Again, this is when my Skype started to cut out. You said you only played 2 Nemoidians. You played Lushro's Dauphine, the pilot, and the unnamed Nemoidian. So you weren't the third Nemoidian, Root Gunay, who had the yellow robes?
No. My character had exactly the same costume as the pilot, and I think I had a different hat on to sort of make me look like a different character. Yeah.
Right. Do you know who was in the costume for that Nemoidian?
I'm afraid I don't know. I recall one of the main Nemoidian actors playing a part in that sequence, but when he realised there was most of the rest of the week was going to be lying down being dead, somebody else, just an extra, came in and sort of donned the costume for a little while and lay down on the floor with the rest of us.
Right.
But I'm afraid I don't remember.
Sorry, one more question. Do you have a Lushro's Dauphine figure? Did you get the figure when it came out?
I managed to. I obviously heard about it when a friend told me that there was a toy coming out of my character, and I did manage to track it down in a toy shop over here in Australia when I was in Melbourne, I think. So I do own one now. It's still in its packet.
So, how does it feel actually owning effectively a figure of yourself?
Very strange and pretty cool.
Lovely. In that case, thanks very much for answering my extra questions. Again, I'm terribly sorry about the cough and the voice and the Skype.
That's okay.
The one night, Lizzie. The one night.
I know. I had waited for this since August. This was literally the reason I became part of the podcast.
That, and I invited you. There's your reason. Is it just me, or did a connection go again?
I think it just did.
What?
Okay, she's back.
It's fine.
I'm going to kill my internet service provider. I am seriously going to kill them for what they've done to me tonight.
I can just see her. I can just see her Monday morning going down to the shop, raging.
Is that really what a girl sounds like?
Well, I don't know if I'd want to put a girl rage voice on a live show.
Yeah, that's actually highly recommended that you don't.
With his current voice and the way I currently sound, he probably sounds more feminine than I do at the moment.
I'm not sure if you should be worried or not, but anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's time to wrap up this interview before it gets any weirder. But yes, so thank you for joining us tonight, Colin.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
pleasure having you on the podcast.
I'm sure Lizzie will be fighting back to get you on again to make sure connection's okay next time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to have you back again at some point. Hopefully, it won't sound like this.
Yeah, well, yes, we'll get well, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's been a pleasure.
Okay. See you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So yeah, so that was a fun interview with Colin.
That was just.
Apart from Lizzie, who didn't enjoy it.
Actually, do you want to know something I just discovered, I believe?
Go ahead.
I was just doing some extra research just there on Google and just looking through some casual stuff and all that. And I believe the Neimoidian that Colin didn't play was actually the unnamed one. I know, I say it's evident that I wasn't told Ganae's name because some of those characters may not have had names at the time of filming. But it does say that up there that he does play both Blushross and Root Ganae. Now, whether they were named in the script when he read the script we don't know. But one thing I did notice is that Wikipedia and a few other websites do have Colin listed as playing the unnamed Neimoidian, but some other websites have another actor called Nick Jameson, who probably more known for voiceover work. They have him listed as playing the unnamed one. So I think it is actually Lushros and Ganae he plays, and the unnamed one is mistakenly credited for him, but he really played the...
I actually think he did. I think he did actually play the unnamed Neimoidian because, by what he said, he's the Neimoidian that ran into the camera, and that's what I remember reading about in the making of the Revenge of the Sith book. And he said himself that he had the same costume but slightly different hats. Well, Lushros Dauphine and the unnamed Neimoidian have effectively the same costume and actually the same hats, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. They all look the same.
They do not.
But yes, so moving on to our topics tonight. The first one's very exciting for Star Wars fans, and it's obviously Star Wars Epic. Now sit down, everyone. Obviously, you probably are sitting down, so stand up. No, so first up, Star Wars Episode 7 has an official release date on December the 18th, 2015.
Clever, very clever. I mean, let's face it. We never actually got an official news or announcement that would be in May, so I think that was just speculation from the start. But it is clever in a sense, because let's face it. Around May and summertime in general in 2015, there are going to be a lot of big name movies in that time. I mean, it's good to avoid competition. I mean, around later in the year, like November, December, aside from Episode 7 now, there's only really one movie that can be called big that's coming out around that time, and it's of a big franchise, and that would be the next James Bond. But, of course, it's not of the same, category, per se, of Star Wars, because it's not completely, it's not sci-fi or fantasy. It's a, spy story, but it can't be real events, seriously. But, with Bond coming out in November, but not being that comparable to Star Wars, of course, I think that, it's a great move, I think, by Star Wars, by Disney, Lucasfilm, what have you, whoever you want to praise, that to put in December. I know a lot of people have complained that it's not, 1 month after Celebration Anaheim, but really, who cares? It's coming out that year, and it gives them more time to, get it out there. It's not like Celebration Anaheim won't be a huge success anyway, because it will.
Yeah, two things I want to say. Who else is going to be camping out to watch the Episode 7?
Me.
Lizzie?
I don't even know. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
You have to camp out when wait for it. It's an early Christmas present.
7 days early.
Yeah, I've had earlier.
Christmas.
And
put it this way. I'm going to Bristol on Sunday to actually attend one of the auditions. So
in that condition, I don't think they'll take you.
If something happens, and if Hell freezes over, and I do end up getting a part in it, I don't know it might feel a bit strange to actually see myself in a film.
Well, it'll be hard if you still have the 50 ways to cough like you are at the moment.
So apparently we are now broadcasting live from a parking lot outside the theatre, according to our producer in the live chat.
That would be funny if we broadcasted like if we all had Wi-Fi on our computers and we're all sitting at different cinemas waiting.
Yeah, one for me in Dublin, one for Dan in, well, that place, one for Lily in wherever she lives, and one for Chris in wherever he lives. Yeah,
It's like, oh yes, me in Dublin, and then these other people in their places, you know.
Do I sound like that?
Almost.
No.
Oh yes, it's definitely exciting news that we've got a date for it, and I have seen a lot of
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hate, but I've seen a lot of negativity because people are like, oh well, I spent so much money to go to Celebration Anaheim to watch episode 7.
I probably should expand on my point as well. I mean, Celebration Anaheim, whether episode 7 is 1 month after or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to be huge anyway. I mean, even if it's not 1 month after, I mean, we're still probably going to get most of the same stuff. Like, we'll get maybe a few preview clips of episode 7, probably the first, full trailer. Some of the cast and crew making appearances. I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case. And not just that, of course, but they'll be celebrating the first season of Star Wars Rebels, and we'll have the first. It'll be the first time cast and crew from the new animated series, of course, show up, and of course we'll be celebrating the past of Star Wars as well. You know what we all already love from Star Wars. I mean, for me, it just makes little to no difference that it's not 1 month afterwards. I think people who say otherwise are just making a huge fuss out of nothing, essentially.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be. It doesn't matter what time of the year. I mean, it's still going to be hugely popular.
Yeah, and I mean, the other complaint as well is, I mean, the fact that it's not in May and it's breaking the quote-unquote tradition for Star Wars films. I mean, really, I think traditions are made to be broken eventually. I mean, no traditions last. I
just pray it doesn't snow that year and we're sitting outside the cinemas with like 25 jackets on, just sitting in the corner freezing.
Well, let's face it, we originally suspected the film would come out in May, which is the 5th month of the year, and now we know it's coming out in December, the 12th month. I mean, that's 7 months difference, and a lot can be finalized and changed in 7 months. I mean, I think they've given themselves a great amount of time in which to, get it finished, feel like it's just been rushed out. And of course, we all know they didn't want to push it back until 2016 because of their game plan that I mentioned before. So December is a great move for sure. I mean,
they'll certainly sell a lot of toys at Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's actually an outstanding marketing move, and no matter what view you take on it. So I think, as far as business goes, I mean, that is pretty good business right there by having it around that time. Not just for the marketing of the film, because we'll get even more money from the film, but the products, as Lizzie mentioned, toys like Hasbro, Lego, what have you, they'll sell out even better, coming out around Christmas time. So I think it's actually a pretty brilliant marketing scheme for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And also, as Lizzie mentions, there'll be additions taking place across the USA, UK, and Ireland for Thomas and Rachel.
Yeah, though of course I think it's safe to say those won't actually be the character names.
I was just about to shout out Thomas and Rachel, quick, go and get the dishes done.
Or you could have shouted out Thomas the Tank Engine. That's what they I think it's definitely safe to say Thomas and Rachel aren't going to be the actual character names. They're just, they're just there to make it not really seem so as like they don't want to give anything away per se. And even the storyline. Sorry, not storyline. Apologies. Backtrack on that one. Even the dialogue that was mentioned for the edition takes, that we've seen. From what I've heard, and don't hold me on this because I haven't watched it, but apparently it's just dialogue taken from one of the Hunger Game movies. I could be wrong on that. It was definitely said it was dialogue taken directly from another movie, though, just used as the addition piece. So, yeah. I won't be surprised if everything changes between the edition take and, the actual film and character names, the dialogue, etc., location. Apples and Star Wars, whatever next. And if they did have apples and Star Wars, then I tell you, they would actually have a different name, like Blue Milk. In fact, guess what? I've got apples right here. Should I eat them? No, wait.
Apples, the healthy treat of a Jedi. Ha! But yes, it'd definitely be interesting.
That keeps the Sith away.
and as Lizzie mentioned, she's obviously going to get to the Bristol edition if her cough doesn't stop her.
My cough is not going to stop me.
In that case, okay. Although I still think you should go and apply for an Imodian.
I'm going to do what I can. Look, I'm already not really expecting anything to come of this. I'm going for the experience as much as anything. I mean, how many people get to say that they even auditioned for Star Wars? And, if something
all the people in the
goes
line.
well, if I do part, then wonderful. What?
You said how many people auditioned for Star Wars, and I'm like, all the people that were in the line, which is true.
How many people get to say that? Oh, forget it.
To a certain actress, just about everyone, maybe 7 billion. Oh wait, that's a lot of everyone's.
That's like almost the whole population. And as Adam Morton mentioned in the chat, they had peaches in Attack of the Clones and pears, so why not apples?
Oh yeah, they did have pears. I want some of those pears. And
just come into your local supermarket.
My local supermarket. Have you seen the time?
24 hours. You get these.
What?
You get 24-hour supermarkets.
Do we?
Yeah, unless you don't in Ireland, but you definitely do in the UK.
Ew, I just don't tend to go to them at this time.
That's when all the creeps come out. But yes.
Pretty much.
And we also have J.J. Abrams, who said why he and Lawrence Kasdan are now writing.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, the reason he gave was cut so they could meet the time frame they were given to get the movie out. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it does make sense because busy people like them do have a very specific time frame, and Michael Ent was pretty much the only writer. If you lose one writer and you get two more, but also prolifically proven.
Oh, shut up, Dan.
JJ and Lawrence Kasdan, then it is a pretty good move, and it means they'll get double the work done and double the amount of time essentially. So yeah, I think they'll definitely get that time frame they need now. It's pretty good.
At this rate, it'll be 50 Shades of Cough. But yeah, it's definitely interesting that they've got two people now writing on it, and obviously, as you said,
Shades of Grey.
What?
50 Shades of what?
Excuse me while I jump out my window.
Okay.
But yes, and I'm sorry that's distracting.
Sorry.
But yes, and there's also casting call claims New Mexico and LA filming locations.
Yeah, it is. It would be interesting to see something. Obviously, Pinewood is going to be the main one. It would just be like those two for like extra planets, I guess you could say, or extra locations might be the better term if it's not actually planets, though it probably will be. I believe it was actually rumored that they would be at filming locations, a small bit of filming before. So if I'm right in thinking it was rumored before, then we may well get it. So see those two as filming locations for some other scenes. So yeah, would be interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, obviously it can't all be done in one place, and you can't always get, unless like they just stand in front of green screens for the whole movie.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
No. Just like I could just stand in my room and set up a green screen and pretend I'm in Star Wars as well. No biggie.
Or just do a handstand on your bed and pretend you're doing a Jedi Force jump or something.
Yeah. See, the difference between a Force jump and me doing that is the Force jump works, but that would probably break my bed.
The Force jump works, you don't.
Oh! I think Daniel left when he heard that.
Are you serious?
I didn't hear him. Dan?
That's what he gets for making fun of my cough.
It's still funny.
Funny,
yes.
funny. Yeah.
all that I heard was funny. But yes, and also JJ takes notes of fan video on rules for Star Wars Episode 7.
I mean, I'm trying to put this in the best way possible, naturally. I haven't watched that video since like the day or the day after it went online. And it obviously I doubt anything will come from it, but it does make me a bit concerned that it's so widely known that even JJ has seen that rules video, because it was I'm not sure if either of you have seen it, but it was quite obviously a very original trilogy biased, viewpoints. Like I honestly can't remember for the life of me, and I don't want to remember for the life of me what specifically was said in the video.
It's
but
blocking it out your mind.
That's actually and just seeing the name again kind of frustrates me. But I just hope nothing comes out of JJ seeing it. I doubt anything will, but I just really thought that video was just dreadful, because it wasn't what the Star Wars fan base as a whole wants. It was what a particular group of fans want. As we all know, those particular group of fans happen to be those who love the original trilogy and hate anything else related to Star Wars. So, I really just hope that JJ wasn't really paying that much attention to and doesn't actually think that's what the fans do want, because it's quite clearly not. It's just what a small group wants.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a small group, but the minority anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before I move on to the next one, all I want to say is warning: this is not the real pronunciation. Chiwetel Ejiofor, rumored to be cast in Episode 7. Now I remember this guy from the movie 2012. That's the only movie I remember him from.
Well, it's one more than me. I usually know a lot of people.
I liked the way he acted out in 2012. So I could see him in Star Wars. Obviously, they're completely different movies. One's the world getting battered to pieces, and the other one's Jedi doing tricks and flips. And
well, isn't Star Wars people getting battered around as well?
Yeah, clearly you never saw the chase scene in Attack of the Clones.
Yep, essentially. Or scenes. Hey, I know a scene where people get battered around.
Alderaan?
No, not that one.
Well, you've got a point.
Well, yeah, but can't you guess, Dan, which one I'm referring to? The scene that must not be named.
Oh, the Neimoidians getting slaughtered.
There you go.
Oh, you son of a nerf herder.
But yes,
You cripping, scruffy-looking, nerve-hurting son of a diseased womp rat.
Son of a diseased womp rat. That's actually a good one.
but yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this guy in episode 7.
If he's in it, I mean, it's
Oh.
only a rumor.
He will be, I'm sure.
What's the voice?
I don't know.
Yeah,
But yes, we also have a rumor
Jedi
for
scum. Sorry, I had to do that.
we also have a rumor for no 20th Century Fox fanfare at the start of the movie.
another rumor. I mean, it's no surprise, really, if we think about it. It was coming, to be honest, so even if it's just a rumor now, I won't be surprised if it does come out and it's not, the 20th Century Fox, music and all that at the start. What? But I wouldn't expect the Disney logo to be at the start. I mean, if anyone is worried about that, because, I mean, Disney has been in charge of Marvel for a good few years at this stage, and they haven't slapped their logo at the start of any Marvel movie, as far as I'm aware, and there have been a lot of Marvel movies recently.
I can just imagine, like, at the beginning of this the movie, just like the Disney logo appears and you have like Mickey and Minnie dancing around.
You would want to imagine that. Well, you would like that, wouldn't you? You have different obsessions.
Not as weird as Lizzie's Grievous feet obsession.
Excuse me. What about the whole Nemoidian obsession?
Well, that's what.
That's less creepy.
What about the Nemoidian feet obsession?
And that just killed it again.
You just sounded so desperate then.
Kill me, Dan. Me? What? Sound desperate? Me?
Yeah, you, Rory.
Rory.
I don't care.
That's
Jedi scum.
Jedi scum is cool. I liked. Cool is cool.
So we also have
Dan.
Saoirse Ronan confirms she will not be in episode
Got
7.
it wrong again. It's Saoirse.
I don't care. I don't like pronunciation.
I don't care if I call you Daniela, so get over it, Daniela.
No problem. No problem.
Didn't we establish that Rory is actually a girl's name spelled the way that your name is?
That's true.
It makes sense.
remember the conversation we have with the Wikipedia stuff and the internet stuff, and it said that Rory was...
It was all bull.
Oh. Rary.
Do you know anyone called that? I'd like to meet them.
No, I don't really know. The only people that I know that are called Rory are Irish, funnily enough.
Rory, not... Rory is normally an English name, for the record.
Yeah, that was the impression that I got.
That's what's creepy, because all the Rorys I know are Irish, apart from you, obviously.
What?
What?
How many Rorys do you know?
Yeah, but yes,
Yeah! That's what you sounded like. That was just bizarre.
Yes,
man.
very funny. And we also have Gary. I'm gonna get this wrong again. Kurt.
Just completely skipped a topic.
No, I'm just ignoring it because you took the piss of me saying the name wrong.
Well, yeah, okay, fine, I'll say it then, because you obviously can't. Saoirse you are not being necessary. I know both of you are coughing. What's up with that?
It's spreading, Rory.
I've infected him.
It's a zombie apocalypse.
It's all dance.
Can I turn into a Nemoidian zombie?
No, it's no such thing. But anyway, yeah, Saoirse. actress has confirmed that she will not be in episode 7 after auditioning. So, yeah, I mean, one thing I do have to wonder, though, after hearing her confirming an interview that she didn't get the role, is did her mentioning in interviews that she had auditioned for it, did that, stop her chances of getting a part in the film? You gotta wonder about that. I mean, obviously, big franchises, would want to be as secretive as possible about upcoming, movies and other projects. So I would not all be surprised if they so as want it so secretive that they didn't even want anyone knowing who had auditioned for it. So yeah, I think there is actually a chance, considering Saoirse did go around quite a few websites and big name websites at that, discussing her audition and the process and all that, and very specific details on. I would not all be surprised if she was actually turned down for that reason, and maybe she would have gone a pair otherwise. You gotta wonder about that.
I know. I just thought of Andrew's role to be in episode 7. He can be the tea lady. He can be the tea lady for the actors and actresses.
I knew that was coming.
He could put on a mini skirt or something, and a wig, and pretend he's a tea lady.
Whatever you do, don't look at the chat right now.
I left for 3 minutes to get crackers and peanut butter. What the heck happened to my channel?
Oh, keep reading down.
No.
Nothing happened to your channel. Maybe you changed the remote control by accident. Sorry?
Don't read down. Stop at that comment.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, read down.
Don't read. No. I'm actually literally tearing an eye out of my socket.
Don't you come near me, ever. Don't you dare come up to London. That if you come up that day, I'm not going.
Oh man! Hey, look! As long as you're not an Nemoidian, you're safe.
Oh God. I'll just like use Andrew's protection.
I should have wow.
By the way, Lizzie, I actually asked Andrew if he would dress up as Taeho for you, and he refused.
Yeah, he's serious.
You asked Andrew if he would dress up as Taeho for me.
Yes, and he refused.
Why?
Because you were looking for someone who wanted to be Taeho. Oh, you said you want by well, actually. What?
Oh my gosh! I was looking for a role play partner, like an RP partner.
Yes, I think that will worry Andrew even more.
Oh my god! No! Like text-based role playing.
I still don't think he likes that. Why are you punching your keyboard, Dan?
Sorry, I was headbutting my laptop. But yes, so we have returning to reality. Gary Kurtz comments on episode 7 casting call process.
And he did have some interesting stuff to say. Like I remember one memorable part of what he said on it was that until you're actually in the audition process and you're going through everyone who is audition, you don't actually, for the most part, know who exactly you want in the role until you see them and they do the audition. I mean, sure, there's a lot of big name actors out there that you'd love to have in the role, but realistically, with some of the roles that you'll have to cast someone who isn't already a big name for, you won't really know who is suitable until, they actually come in front of you and do their audition. So, he did have some interesting stuff to say on the matter, that's for sure.
They'll see Lizzie and run.
What? Why?
Well,
I joke.
The fact that the character they're looking for and the actress is meant to be 16 to 18 years old and you're 20, 21.
You haven't seen me. First of all, I'm 5'0". Second of all, most people still think I'm about 12.
Well,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I actually said on the thing.
I don't know.
I think I actually said on the edition thing that they were looking for people that bring identification anyway. So
Yeah, I'm bringing my identification.
Felt tip pen. Let's change this to 18 years of age.
oh my gosh.
and finally, Dave Prowse offers advice to anyone hoping to audition.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty interesting advice, that's for sure. I mean, one of the things he actually said was that don't go in with your actual accent because otherwise they may not like it. Because, I mean, we all know the story of how Dave Prowse had his voiceover dubbed without him knowing of it beforehand. I mean, that's actually a case with Star Wars a lot, it seems. Yeah, and he was just like, just don't go in there expecting to get a pair if you have a really bad accent. So I'd love to be able to demonstrate what exactly he was saying, but it was something really funny. I'm going to mess this up, but do you want me to try it?
Oh, God.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes, this will be entertaining.
Oh, will you hand me that lightsaber, my dear?
Well, I'm automatically disqualified then because they probably won't go for the Scottish accent.
How was that? Oh, yeah, I get it. But yeah,
I'll just have to go in and say, "Oh dear, can I have my lightsaber?"
But yeah,
Lightsaber.
I mean, going in with an accent like that, no, not a Scottish accent. I mean, what I demonstrated, obviously, would definitely not be quite what anyone is looking for, that's for sure. Unless they want a pirate, but even then I think it would probably fail, or sink, or tank. Yeah, I'm going to stop now. Definitely, he did have some very good advice, I'll say that for sure. I saw some people were a bit critical of his advice, but then again, those were people who don't actually know a thing. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Who am I? What am I doing here? We should have asked for the advice when we were up there in Fan Fun Day.
Considering Jar Binks or something.
It's very sad.
Yeah, we've got a new Jar Binks right here. Pity Ahmed Best is still around, actually.
Oh, Misa, very sad. That was just turning into like Asian.
Actually, I thought you sounded more like Mario.
Whoa! Mario! But yes, so that was some very interesting episode 7 news and rumors for tonight. So moving on.
Over the edition process very much this week.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And moving on, we have confirmed that.
Yeah, definitely. And then you just skip ahead. The indication is we should discuss a little bit more about the additions, those who haven't heard.
Oh yeah, they're looking for some people to audition for Star Wars, you know.
That's not what I meant. Okay, so conversation. What the hell was that? Did you just fart on a live?
What?
That's what it sounded like. That's a fair. Anyway, on a sane topic where we don't have to discuss these weird animalistic sounds that Dan makes, yeah, you should have said that. But yeah, they are looking set for several places for editions to take place across America and the UK and even Ireland. I mean, the UK, of course, places like London, Glasgow, Bristol. I think that's where Lizzie's going. Is that right?
Yeah. Bristol is tomorrow and Sunday.
Nice. And also Dublin in the UK area, I guess you could say, on the 23rd and 24th, which just happens to be Doctor Who weekend. How interesting. Yeah. I am so tempted to go in for the pair, but some other ways kind of edging out a bit. Given more time and a bit more time to prepare, I would so be there, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe another day or a year. Or century? No, decade. I mean,
If they're looking
exactly
for
how old are you, Rory?
if they're looking for Yoda in a century, then you'll be fine.
yeah, new Yoda.
Oh, 100 years I am. Yes, that was just awful. Go ahead.
Oh, what the heck?
Don't add.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think it's pretty cool that with the audition process, and it does make a lot of sense, that with the casting calls as well. I mean, that they're not just looking to the US. I understand, that the UK is also going to be a huge part of the Star Wars Episode 7 thing with, Pinewood Studios in the UK,
Yeah.
being the place where most of it is filmed, it makes sense to get some main UK actors. And if you think about the original trilogy, I mean, it was definitely the majority of the main cast were US actors, but they also did have some, some of the other main casts were also UK as well. And Lizzie just sounds like he's dying.
Okay there, Lizzie.
Yeah, I mean, some of the main UK actors were like Anthony Daniels, who was from England, Kenny Baker was from England. Trying to think of another, but Dave Prowse from England as well, of course. Yeah, I mean, they did have some of the main cast were definitely from the UK. So yeah, well, like Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, PMA, who I believe were all from the US. So yeah, it's good that they're definitely going back to more roots in that, they're looking for some of the main cast as well from the UK, not just the US. So yeah.
Welcome, listeners. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be funny.
Jedi scum.
Your host is
There's Jedi scum.
your host tonight are and
by the
Been
way,
trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
can I just point out one thing to the listeners? Lizzie has been dying with a cough for a while. Dan has developed a cough in the podcast. I developed a cough for my own 5 minutes from choking on water before the podcast, and I'm somehow still fine. How does that work?
Oh man, I'm so sorry about this.
But yeah, so if Rory's happy enough to move on,
I'm wondering what you're waiting for.
next up.
Oh, that's you're waiting for Lizzie to die. You might want to say,
So next up we have the confirmed name of another Imperial officer, Sergeant Jad Bean in Return of the Jedi. Deleted scenes?
yeah, possibly. I believe that's the case anyway. I mean, it's pretty cool, the way even now that, more and more Imperial officers are still getting names. Of course, Alan Flynn's Imperial officer still doesn't have a name, and we want him to get a name for his. I mean, what's actually interesting, what you may not know, is the name given to the character, Jad Bean, is actually the name of someone who's very well known in the community, like on Rebel Scum forums, and someone who has a website of his own, whose name on the community is actually Jad Bean. The character is named after that community member, so that's actually pretty interesting right there.
Yeah.
Wonder if one will ever be named after me one day. That'd be cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes.
I think it's actually kind of interesting that they're now actually paying this kind of attention to the original trilogy now. Usually, you'd see them go back and do all these background characters in the prequels, like on Coruscant, in the Senate, and, etc. But the fact that they're now actually going back to the original trilogy and naming some of these characters, it's just a sign that they're completely shifting directions towards Rebels. It's possibly maybe a sign that this character might even be in Rebels.
Possibly, you never know. Anything could happen. It has been noted, though, for the last several years, or even longer, really, that they have been gradually giving more and more Imperial officers their names. In fact, lots of the Imperial officer actors who go to conventions, the rare ones, not the very common ones, won't even know that their characters have names until they do one of the conventions and the fans tell them that their character actually has a name now. So it's pretty interesting when that happens.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we also have to discuss Lego reaching their 50th season with the Star Wars brand.
Yay!
That's
And
a lot of seasons.
Yeah, and here's hoping to make
15
more.
seasons? Are you serious?
Yeah,
we just put it there for a joke.
Well, they started in 1999 when the Phantom Menace came out. So yeah, pretty much been in 19 seasons, 15 seasons. Hey, even I'm getting confused now. Actually, I think we've discovered it. Dan's terrible with letters or words in general. I can't remember what Liz's bad with. Yeah, well, yeah. And I'm bad with numbers.
I'll tell you what I'm bad with. Lungs.
Well, that's true.
And as I've just looked up, I forgot the Black Series Wave 2 3.5-inch figures hitting Smith stores across the UK and Ireland.
Extra stuff. Come on, you're rushing ahead.
That was above, actually, and I forgot to say that.
Oh. So you did?
That's what I just... Excuse me while I hit my head against this wall.
Well, I have to check. You know that we can never take your word for anything.
That's nice.
Well, it's true. I mean, nice doesn't have to be... Well, true doesn't have to be nice. Then, yeah, so backtrack, say it again.
Back to Lego.
Well.
Was that supposed to be a rewind sound effect?
We've got our own sound effects.
Ever.
More.
Trying to sound like...
Oh my god.
Oh, not you too.
Hey, what do you mean? He's had it for 45 minutes.
But yes, would you like to continue with the Lego? Would you like
no,
to...
I'd like to go back to the Hasbro. I think I need to take over announcing the topics because, Dan, you make a meal of it.
I've never set foot in a Smith store.
I don't even know what Smith's is.
A toy store.
I found out about it from an advert from TV.
Yeah, I
Why
mean...
are you special?
No. He's not special at all.
Well, depending what sort of special we're talking about.
I'm talking about the whole shebang. What about you?
Shebang.
But yeah, back to how the Black Seas Wave 2 3 and 3/4 figures have hit Smith stores across the UK and Ireland, which is pretty cool. I have a couple of zombies with me. That's not actually what I was planning to say, but okay. You back again, not zombie. Right, I found my pet walkers. Well, that's actually kind of wearing. I'm shown. It's pretty cool that Smith stores have the Black Series Wave 2 figures in, because I actually went to a Smith store like 3 weeks ago, maybe even less, and like they didn't even have Wave 1 in. It's kind of like they just went straight ahead to Wave 2. I'm not sure if that was bad distribution on Hasbro's part to Smith stores, but whatever. It's really cool. I mean, my only complaint, of course, would be the fact that, of course, over here in Ireland, well, UK as well, but see, as I'm over there currently at this present time, I won't know, but I can guess, is the price. The price of the Black Series Wave 2 figures over here are like €12.99, which is close to $16 or $17 for one figure, which is pretty crazy, shall we say. What was that, Dan?
Nothing.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm used to the fact that we get much worse prices, but yeah, I won't really want to pay it that much, except for some of the cooler figures in the wave. And for those of you who don't remember what figures are in Wave 2 of the 3 3/4 inch, they are Jedi Master Pablo Jill, Luminara and Dooley, 41st Clone Trooper, the one with the incorrect paint applications, a Stormtrooper, R2D2, and Mara Jade. So, I mean, I'm planning to eventually pick most of them up. I have no immediate plans to pick up the R2D2 because I've got one R2D2 figure. All the ones that have been made, that's more than enough, really. But yeah, the others I'm definitely going to pick up over time. And one thing I should point out, there's actually possibly going to be a variant for the 41st clone in Wave 3 with the correct paint up. So for any variant collectors out there, that's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to get Pablo Jill and Luminara first, I'd say. I've heard they're hugely improved figures from the previous versions, which the movie versions previously of them came out quite a while ago. And Pablo Jill, I believe, in the original trilogy collection back in 2004, somewhere around that. And Luminara and Dooley, it's like the first movie version as a whole since the Revenge of the Sith line itself back in 2005. So yeah, it's great that both of them are finally getting re-released with much improved figures from what I've heard. Are you planning to pick up any of the figures, Dan? If you can even remember them.
Depending. I'm kind of. It's coming to the end of the year, and it's this time of year where I've just got no money left.
There's a list.
So, what?
There's a Christmas list. Get some paper, write some stuff.
Yeah. Let's just say I've already blown my Christmas presents budget. I just got a whole new cycling kit, and that cost about 60 quid in total. So,
yeah, there's your problem.
Oh well.
No money.
I'll just start going with the thug life and stealing, in it.
I'd like to see that. I think you'd actually pull it off. It's not actually a compliment.
Why is it? Because I'm Scottish? No,
it's the face.
Oh, why am I too innocent to steal?
No.
Oh, okay. Why are we sitting here talking about stealing? Kids, it's bad to steal. Do not steal.
Well, you were the one who brought it up.
Did you say you were stealing kids?
I'm not that sort of person.
Gravy.
A kid snatcher. I'm not that sort of person.
Prove it.
Right.
Prove it. How can I prove it?
Dan, you've got the look.
Over there.
But anyway,
want some candy?
moving on to Lego.
You can build it.
Oh, well done. That deserves a round of applause.
Boom. But you can also terribly break it if you walk into it or step on it.
I can keep this up,
Which I spent hours building something out of Lego, and then I just accidentally fell on it.
Why was your farm that big?
Or maybe the thing I was making was too small.
Well, that would be a pointy one, wouldn't it? Oh! Problem? Yep, problem. Anyway, back to Lego. So yeah, it's celebrating its 15th season now of making Star Wars toys. As I mentioned earlier, they started around the time the Phantom Menace was first released. 2014, essentially, I guess, will be its 15th year, maybe 16th. As I told you, I'm terrible with numbers. Yeah, I mean, it should be great. I mean, of course, it's pretty cool because, soon Lego will be making sets from some all-new themes like Star Wars Rebels, the new movies. So yeah, it's pretty exciting times for Lego Star Wars. And next year, going to be a bit of a focus on Revenge of the Sith. Because, they were planning to release sets in 2014 that coincide with the 3D release, but of course that is cancelled. But when you've already sets made for it, then you're not going to cancel them. You might as well release them anyway. So Yeah, it's interesting to see what Revenge of the Sith sets they'll be coming out with, and I definitely plan to pick some of them up. Add some of the other sets that they pick up. So yeah, now that we've finally gone through the Lego topic, unless side of you two have anything to say.
I already made my statement that you can build it and knock it over, so.
Adam Morton in the chat says about you that Neimoidian innocent stealer.
Neimoidian innocent stealer.
Whoa, hey, whoa. What's about stealing Neimoidian innocence?
No, not quite that. What of our live listeners,
And
Adam?
shouldn't I be doing that?
No. You've been
No.
not. Yeah, one of our live listeners, Adam, said that Dan is a Neimoidian innocent stealer. And I won't be surprised.
That, so make sure to check out our YouTube channels. The podcast is www.youtube.com/users.
We skip the topic.
Change subject.
Yeah, well, that topic's been roaming around for weeks, but we can't do it until a certain someone comes on.
2 weeks isn't it? Well, maybe it is.
So, make sure to check out our YouTube channels. The podcast is www.youtube.com/user/voice of the Republic 1. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/voice of the Republic. No! Mine's also Voice of the Republic podcast, apparently.
Seriously?
No, I just completely mixed up and said. Okay, yes, I'll drag myself away from that chat. So mine is www.youtube.com/user/14mrdass. Check out Rory's at www.youtube.com/user/separatist destroyers. Lizzie has to get a YouTube so we can have another one in there.
I have a YouTube.
Oh, well, Rory, why haven't you put her YouTube?
Well, you never told me. I always tell my co-hosts to tell me.
Shame on you, Lizzie. Check out Rory's Everything Geek podcast at Everything Geek Podcast on Facebook. And also check out Lizzie's coughing website.
Oh, you're terrible.
Sempre coughing name with yana.weebly.com. And check out the first Also check out Colin Ware on Wikipedia and Colin Ware. Check out Colin Ware on Wikipedia.
Alright, seeing as Dan is physically incapable of finishing it, check out Colin Ware on wiki.com/wiki/Colin Ware. Check out our events at the Clone Wars Weekly Podcast, www.facebook.com/pages.
And check out Channel 113 on Facebook.
Channel 113 on Facebook, www.facebook.com/channel113. Also check out our sponsors, Hunted Toys, www.facebook.com/pages/Hunted Toys. So from me, Dan, Lizzie, and Colin, may the force be with you, and Wolf. See ya.